Hello children, welcome to the first online tutorial for the academic session 2021 and 22. So today we'll start with lesson number 1, input and output devices. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the input, process, output, input devices, some of the commonly used input devices and more input devices. So to begin with, first we need to understand how the computers works or how a computer system works. So it can be divided in 3 stages, that is input, process and output. So let me give you one example. Suppose say if you want to make a cup of tea. So the first thing you need is a cup of water, a little amount of say a sugar, tea leaf and a cup of milk. So we call all these items as a input because these are a instruction or the raw facts that we are going to use for the processing. So finally what we do is we will put all the items in a pan and we'll start boiling. So we call this as a processing. So once the processing is done, then your cup of tea is ready. So we call this as a output. So even the computer systems works in the same way, that is input, process, output. So input means any kind of instruction or the raw facts that we enter. These things are especially entered with the help of the input devices, maybe the mouse or a keyboard, and it will be sent for the processing, and processing is done with the help of the CPU, and once the processing is completed it will give the results, that is the output, with the help of a monitor or a printer. Now let us start with the input devices. Now I am going to show you some of the figures or the input devices: keyboard, numeric keypad, pointing devices, remote control, joysticks, touch screen scanner, graphic tablets, microphone, digital camera, webcam, light pens. So these are some of the examples of the input devices. So as you all know that the devices through which we enter data and instructions are for processing are called the input devices, and the most commonly used input devices are keyboard and mouse. Now let us go through the keyboard. So all of you are very much aware of the keyboard because you have already used it in the schools. So keyboards are basically used to enter the data or instruction into the computer by typing. Now a standard keyboard has 104 keys which are divided into 4 groups: typing key, function key, navigation key and control key. The keys that you can see here, the alphabetic keys and the numbers, we generally call this as a typing key, and at the top you can see the key written with F1, F2, F3 till F12. We call this as a function key, and we call this as a cursor control key, or you can also call it as a arrow key. So together we call this as a navigation key. And finally the control key, that is the key with the CTRL, Alt, Shift, Tab, we call this as a control key. So always remember that the standard keyboard has 104 keys and it has been divided into 4 groups, that is typing key, function key, navigation key and control key. Now let us move to the next slide, a mouse. So mouse is one of the commonly used input devices, and you have also worked with the mouse basically while drawing in the paint window. So mouse has 2 parts, one is the left button and another is right button. So both these buttons has its different functions, and basically there are 5 different mouse actions that we can do by using these 2 buttons. One is single click, another is double click, right click, We also use the mouse pointer to point something and drag and drop. So mouse is a handheld pointing device with two buttons on its top. It is used to control the movement of the pointer, to select the object and open files and folders. Beside that, the mouse is also used to draw pictures. Now the next input device is microphone. So I'm sharing here the two images of the microphone, and microphone is an input device. Why? Because it is used to record the voice, music and sound into the computer system. Now, apart from recording sounds in the computer, microphone is used in many applications such as telephone, tape recorder, hearing aids, and etc. Now, touch screen is also one of a input device. So all of you are very much aware about the touch screen. The most common example of the touch screen is a smartphone that you are using nowadays, that I'm using nowadays. So touch screen is just like a computer screen which is sensitive to the touch. So we can select the object directly by touching with the finger without using any pointing devices. Some of the examples of touch screen are tablets, ATM, cell phones, etc. So the next input device is touchpad. So all of you must be aware with the touchpad, because touchpad is basically used in the laptop instead of mouse. So on the laptop computer, touchpad is used instead of mouse. It is touch sensitive pad. We can control the movement of the pointer on the screen by moving the finger on the touchpad. Now light pen. So let me show you the example of a light pen. Now you see that the light pen is a pen like pointing devices. It is used to select objects on the display screen. It is quite similar to the mouse, but except that it allows the user to point to the object displayed on the screen or draw directly on it. So light pens are basically used with the CRT monitors. It is mainly used by engineers, fashion designers or architects, and it is very costly. The next input device is scanner. So basically there are three types of scanner. One is the flatbed scanner, the handheld scanner, and the sheet fed scanner. So this is the device that read the text of the picture that are printed on the paper and it translate into the form that the computer understands. Suppose say that you have a photograph of your family and you want to put it or keep it as a wallpaper in your desktop or a laptop. So in this case what we do is we will just scan the pictures, and once we scan the picture, the copy of that picture or a photograph will get stored into the computer and we can use it as a desktop background. So the most commonly used scanner among all the three scanners are the flatbed scanner, and it has a flat tray with the glass pane and a covering lid. So it acts just like as a photocopier. The next input device is the web camera. So nowadays all of us are very much aware of the web cameras, because as you all know that the online classes are going on, so it's very important that we should have a web camera in our laptop desktops. So web camera is a device connected to the computer for capturing still image and live videos. It is primarily used to share pictures and have a live chat with our friends, with our relatives using the internet. So this is all in this video. Thank you, children.